right, here we go. In 3, 2, and 1. Good Tuesday evening, everybody. Big E Shoot-Around is live from STOUT Bar here in New York City. We are right across the way from Madison Square Garden ahead of number 15 Villanova and St. John's tonight on FS1. I'm John Fanta, and making the trip from the Chateau up to the Big Apple, it is Timmy B, Tim Brando, here with us. He'll have the call with Bill Raftery coming up for the Red Storm and the Wildcats, which means it could be a longer night.
Yeah, it may be, and this place is open after the game.
Yes.
All right, good. I expect favors. Yeah. By the way, this is just water. It is. It's just water.
It's great to have you here, and we're right in the thick of things in the college basketball season, and that's where our headlines lead us tonight, starting with the Big East Conference. 5 teams, Tim, are ranked in the top 25. The Providence Friars coming in at number 11, and the Villanova team you have tonight at number 15. What do you make of the Big East?
The only thing it's lacking is enough teams to get more teams in the tournament. I mean, I look at the Big Ten and the Big 12 in lockstep as the 2 top conferences in America. But the Big East, were it not for just, a couple of extra teams in the league, they would likely have as many. They just have fewer teams in the conference than those leagues, and as a result, you don't see as many of them ranked, or perhaps as many that could make the NCAAs. But my goodness, it's deep. I mean, when DePaul just beat Xavier, and Xavier's a ranked team, and they're a team that lost at home to DePaul. So there are no easy outs here, with the exception of Georgetown, and I don't think even Patrick Ewing can figure out. And Patrick won this tournament here a year ago. Dante Harris was the most outstanding player, but he just has not been able to have a team. He hasn't had a team that he could put out there on a consistent basis to know what he was going to get, on the floor on a given night.
Really is something. And those other teams that round out the top 25, Marquette at number 18, then UConn at 24th, Xavier at 25th. Let's talk for a moment about Shaka Smart and a reincarnation. He was at Texas, and things ended. All things eventually come to an end. That did. He's back in his home state of Wisconsin, and here the Golden Eagles are. They've won 8 of their last 9 games, and they're in the top 4 of the league.
Really, I think sends a message, John, in a lot of ways about, a change of address can mean a lot. Look, Mike Anderson, has never had a losing season in his career, and no, he didn't go to Arkansas, but he was with Nolan Richardson for, I think almost 12 to 13 years of Nolan's run, including the Final Four and the championship in '94, and Mike couldn't get it done at Arkansas. He comes over to St. John's, and he's Coach of the Year. Okay, I think probably we're talking about the Coach of the Year this year in the Big East, and Shaka Smart. Fits are unique, and we talk about in college athletics, is the guy the right fit? And I think given the coach that left, and this isn't to disparage Wojciechowski at all. I mean, I've known Wojo forever. I'm sure he'll get another opportunity. I'm sure he'll do an excellent job.
Sure.
But after having Wojo in your ears for that long a period of time, to be able to re-recruit, hang on to enough of the nucleus of that team, and then get them all to buy in, Shaka is the ultimate positive guy. And I think that voice was just the right voice for that team. And holding on to guys like Lewis obviously means a great deal.
Yeah.
And I'm a little envious of you because you got to do that game with Providence and Marquette. And I don't have Marquette on my schedule yet, They weren't supposed to be this good. And they're great. Yeah. They're really a great basketball team. And I think can do damage between now and the Big East tournament, and maybe even well into the NCAA tournament.
The Golden Eagles back in action tonight, and that's where headline 2 takes us. They'll be taking on 24th-ranked Connecticut. This is a big game tonight for UConn, who's lost back-to-back games. It's the game that precedes you on FS1, and it comes in Hartford. And, Tim, I know for you, when you think about the fact that you've got Xavier tomorrow night, it's a big week for the Musketeers as well, as they got Seton Hall. That'll be critical. But you covered this league, and you know the state of college sports. Having the UConn Huskies in the Big East.
I think it's huge, but I do think it's going to warrant some changes within the UConn organization. Number one, they're going to have to get the state of Connecticut off their backs about having to play weeknight games in Hartford. That's not a good home court for UConn. Not on a weeknight not at 8:30 at night. I mean, I was there just a few weeks ago with Lavin.
Yes.
And, they won the game going away, but, I mean, it's not the same kind of crowd that you get in stores. During the week, they need the student body there. So I realize that there are politics involved. And, okay, fine, play a few games in Hartford, but make sure it's on a weekend and make sure it's a day game. That's what they need to do, because I think they lose a lot of their home court. It's not like we're talking the difference in money that could be made at MSG versus Carnesecca.
Right.
Now, that's a different ball game. This is happening because the state wants them to play those games in Hartford, an equal number of home games. And I really think if I'm Danny Hurley, I've got to go to my AD and I've got to say, look, I got a berries and cream crowd during the week for key games. I gotta play on my home court on campus, for weeknight games, especially games played, after 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
I hope you get that.
Oh, I'm with you, because I was in Hartford last week for the Creighton game, and I think playing in Hartford hurt the Huskies. Kept them from winning the game.
Listen, we know the incredible media that covers UConn. We know of the impact and the brand that they bring nationally. There's no question about that. There's a gazillion fans of UConn basketball that are watching and maybe thousands of miles away from Connecticut.
Yeah.
But for that team, and in this year of the fan, I don't know if you've noticed as much as I have, but having fans in the building has turned the game back around.
Oh, yeah.
Last year was a different animal because of COVID, and now home courts really mean a lot. And I think that's something that UConn needs to remedy ASAP.
Speaking of home courts, it'll be interesting to see what happens here tonight, because in many ways, Madison Square Garden has become a second home for Villanova recently with how much they've done in the Big East tournament, winning it a number of times under Jay Wright. St. John's, on the other hand, it's been a season of ups and downs. They have won back-to-back games, and they're 5-6 in league play. This is a huge week for the Red Storm against Villanova tonight and UConn on Sunday. We're all awaiting official word on Posh Alexander, Colin Gillespie, and Justin Moore. So what do you see? You're on the call tonight on FS1 in this Nova-St. John's matchup.
Well, we were at practices yesterday in Jamaica, Queens. We were today shoot-around with Jay. I got a good feeling about Moore playing.
Okay.
I do. I think that I would categorize Moore a probable, and I would categorize Colin a possible. In the case of Posh Alexander, I think his decision or their decision on whether he'll play might come when he sees Moore and possibly Colin out there, okay? So both of these teams, there are so many storylines about can this guy go or not go and how it's going to impact the game. Remember this, though, about St. John's. Even without Posh, the way Mike Anderson plays, you could put an Iwusu out there, and you get the same kind of player defensively. You don't get the same player necessarily offensively, but they're going to press and they're going to do what St. John's does. I think in the case of Villanova, if they are being pressured the way they anticipate, if they don't have a healthy Moore and they don't have a healthy Gillespie, that's going to force Jay Wright to go with a bunch of bigs on the floor to run a pressure release offense. And that could mean seeing a point forward. A Samuels might, have to carry the mail a little bit.
Yeah.
Dixon might come out, be a point four. We could see wild big lineups out there for Villanova. If those two guys are not healthy enough to deal with that pressure. But again, these are all possibilities. We don't know. Hell, after layups, they may look great and play the entire game. But based on at least what I saw and what the coaches were willing to tell us, I suspect that we'll see at least one of those three. And if we see one, we might see Posh just because that one for Villanova is out there. That's my thought.
I think that your thought would be correct, and it's interesting to see what will happen. The Johnnies lead the Big East with nearly 80 points per game. Villanova, however, only allowing 62. You could see it's indicative in those statistics just how much of a contrast in styles there are.
Yeah, and Champagne better be ready because, let's face it, Mike Anderson needs him to take over certain nights when the ball's not dropping. All right, if St. John's is shooting it well If guys like Wheeler are making a difference, Steph comes out there and maybe Steph is a factor, then Champagnie can play his normal game. But if the other guys aren't shooting it particularly well, he's got to take over. And you know Jay Wright has a plan for Champagnie. They're going to be running a couple of guys at him, and he better be ready to deal with that. And if he's not, and Champagnie really struggles, then somebody else has got to be a factor in the game. Who that might be, who knows?
Tim, have a great call tonight.
Thanks, John. Great to be with you, and I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
You're having a breakthrough year in every respect. That call in the Marquette Providence game was superb.
I appreciate you, Tim. When it comes from this guy, a Hall of Famer in his own right, follow him at Tim Brando. I always love your on Brandos. I hope that there's one come March Madness time. I think there'll be one.
There'll be one if I don't get drinks here after the game.
Well, we thank Tim Brando again for the time. FS1 featuring St. John's in Villanova on this Tuesday evening. More to come here from Stout Bar, New York City, right on 33rd, a proud partner of the Big East Conference. Let's look back, though, before we look ahead to the Wildcats in St. John's tonight, to Villanova and UConn. The renewal of a rivalry on Saturday, and the Cats made quite a statement in Philadelphia.
Welcome inside the Wells Fargo Center in South Philadelphia. The Villanova Wildcats and the Connecticut Huskies today in a Big East battle. The Villanova Wildcats, Whitey, come into this game ranked 12th in the country. Daniels trying to get by Martin. Attacks all the way to the rim. Layup good. Back out to Gillespie. Straight away. Wide open three. Nails it.
He just kind of cuddled that in the basket.
Samuels comes up with it. Bounce pass to a cutting Archidiakono. Layup good in transition. Wow.
Finished by Archidiakono at the basket.
Gillespie working against the 6'6" Jackson. Continuing to back down. Pump fakes. Goes up. Can he get it to go? Yes, he does. The two-footer. An and one opportunity.
There's really no one better in the country at that play than Colin Gillespie.
Spins off the glass. Count it. Dixon powers up. Layup is good. He's feeling it tonight. Samuels, left wing, working down low. Bounce pass to Slater, who throws down the two-handed jam coming in from the right baseline. 9 seconds to go. Finds Dixon. Dixon low blocks. Three-footer is good with 4 seconds to go. Catch by 14. To Slater, left wing three. He's got it. That's a big three for Slater. Gillespie wants to attack. Gillespie underneath the basket. Reverse layup is good. What a take.
Really great job with his left hand.
Top of the key. Gillespie kicks. Archidiakono, left corner three. He's got it. A swish. 14 on the shot clock. Daniels comes up with the steal. He's ahead of the pack and throws down a two-handed jam in transition. And the Cats lead by 12.
5 quick points.
And Dixon comes up with a steal. Dixon gets into Gillespie. His three is good from the left wing and rattled around for a week and a half and dropped in. Oh my goodness!
That touched every part of the rim and the backboard, I think.
Dixon wants to add to his career high. Spins, and the 4-footer is good from the left baseline over Sanogo. He's got 20. Cats lead 61-44. And finds Slater all alone on a great dish from Samuels. Cats lead 63-44. Slater gets on the floor, comes up with a great steal. Daniels with Hawkins trying to get him, and he can't lay up. Good by Daniels. The Cats are on fire. Samuels wants to attack. Pump fakes, goes up off the glass and good on the layup, and he's fouled. Left-handed layup is good. Finger roll. Slater down the lane. Layup is good. The finger rolls. 3, 2, 1, and that's it. Villanova, they've done it. They have beaten Connecticut for the 5th straight time. Your final score at the Wells Fargo Center in South Philadelphia. Villanova 85, Connecticut 74. What a bounce-back victory for the Wildcats today, Whitey.
Madison Square Garden.
Big East Championship.
John, winners here of the Garden.
The Friars are the champions. Welcome to the Garden. Step back. Corny and Kemba. Congratulations to Providence. Throws one up and Isaiah Whitehead. Exclamation point. Villanova. Georgetown pulls it off. This is a Big East, folks.
Back here inside Stout Bar, New York City on 33rd, right across from Madison Square Garden. It's Big East Shoot-Around, and we're having a bar-side chat with the New York Post columnist. He is a St. John's beat reporter, Zach Braziller, with us tonight. And Zach, it's great to have you here. I know this typically has meant we're right in the heart of things in the college basketball season, where we're about a month away now. from the madness really revving up. I'm curious from your standpoint. The Big East currently has 6 teams in the top 35 of the net rankings. What have you made of the league?
I mean, to me, it's clearly the best the league has been since it was recreated. You have multiple teams that can make a Sweet 16 Elite 8 run. To me, there are probably 4 or 5 teams that can do it. Providence, Marquette, Villanova, Xavier. I'd even throw Seton Hall and UConn in there. The depth, when you talk about the top half of the league, is the best it's ever been. There might not be a national champion like we've had with Villanova, but look, this league needs to have a big March. We've seen it where they get a lot of bids, but these teams flame out. This, to me, is a year where you can see multiple teams, up to 3 or 4 teams, get to the second weekend.
Right now, 7 teams are projected in the majority of bracketologies. Creighton is bubbly. They will take on Butler tonight and need to hold serve in Omaha. Let's turn to where St. John stands. They've won back-to-back games, and they won 2 road games in 3 days. That was a daunting stretch that I know you were looking at, not so much an opponent, but more so about it's a lot of basketball in a span of 3 days. What does this week mean for this team?
I mean, this is a chance for them to get in the mix. This is a chance for them to start to at least, make good on those preseason expectations. This team was picked 4th in the league, and it really hasn't performed up to expectations. But here they are, home for Nova, probably a shorthanded Nova. They get UConn, who's going to have a brutal week, having to play at Xavier Friday night, and then turn around Super Bowl Sunday. A 2-0 week, and this team, to me, will at least start to creep into the first 4 out, next 4 out category.
Interesting stuff. Looking at the Big East standings, Providence is 10-1. They're on a bye here in the middle of the week. Villanova is at 10-3. It's the Marquette Golden Eagles at 8-4, and UConn comes in at 6-4. So I have to ask you, Zach Braziller, who's the best team in the Big East?
Right now, it's Marquette.
Wow.
I know the Providence fans aren't going to like that, and they're not exactly a big fans of mine to begin with. But if you look at just what Marquette has done, how they've performed, especially on the road, they sweep Villanova. They absolutely manhandle Seton Hall and Newark. I get it, they have 4 losses, but since that 0-3 start, they've been terrific. I think they're a sleeper Final Four contender.
Wow. That is something to say about them. But look, they've won 8 of 9, and Justin Lewis right now, you'd probably vote him Big East Player of the Year.
Yeah, I would go. You have Lewis, obviously. Colin Gillespie is in the mix. Providence, that's the thing. Providence doesn't really have that one guy. They're just such a balanced, smart, experienced team. But I don't see one guy out of there that's really in the mix. I think Paul Scruggs kind of maybe on the outskirts of the Player of the Year voting. Before this little stumble, I thought Sonogo was right there, but UConn struggles to me kind of preclude him. I think it's a 2-guy race right now between Lewis and Gillespie.
This is a huge week for UConn. You've got Marquette tonight, then you're at Xavier on Friday before coming to the Garden to take on St. John's Super Bowl Sunday on Fox. I think it goes without saying, Connecticut needs to start making some hay here this week in some way, shape, or form. They're in good enough standing NCAA tournament-wise, but this team doesn't just aspire to make the tournament. They'd like to have a good seed, and they're coming off back-to-back losses.
I mean, right now they have 2 very good wins. They won at Marquette. They beat Auburn. But they don't really have a lot else. Now, their metrics are that good that it really probably doesn't matter that much. But if you look at their Big East, they won 5-0 in the league, but it was against the bottom half of the league and really could have lost the game at home to St. John's. And this is a team that does have its issues offensively. We talked about it. I thought they should have went out and got a shooter on the transfer market. To me, they're an offensive guy short of being a really good team. They're still a good team, but to me, they depend too much on offensive rebounds and their defense. You saw it against Villanova. If their defense isn't great, they're going to struggle against a decent team.
Last thought here. We're right across the way from the Garden, and next month it's going to be the 40th Big East tournament inside Madison Square Garden. The tradition speaks for itself. But you said you think the league's the best since it was recreated. I look at the Big East tournament, Zach. We're in for potentially the best quarterfinal round we've seen in quite some time.
It's going to be a terrific tournament, especially for the fact that we really haven't had a real Big East tournament in a long time.
Yes.
2 years ago it was canceled. Last year you basically had no fans. There was no atmosphere. So you combine the fact with the league is terrific, and we're having our first real tournament. And then the ACC is in Brooklyn, basically as the JV tournament with the league completely down. It's going to be great. It's a month away, basically. I can't wait. I think it's going to be such a fun Big East tournament because of how good this league is. And I just can't wait for it to get here.
Read him at mypost.com. Zach Braziller at mypost_Brazil over on Twitter. Zach, thanks so much for the time. It'll be fun tonight.
Hey, I'm just happy to be in your good graces here, man.
Coming up, we've got a lot more trivia, some giveaways, and some thoughts on the Big East as a big night is here. And we're great to be joined here by our partners at Stout Bar, New York City. More to come from New York.
When basketball was first invented in 1891, it was racially segregated like the rest of American society. Gymnasiums and athletic clubs were for whites only, but that didn't stop Edwin Henderson, a black gym teacher in Washington, D.C., from introducing the game of basketball to African Americans on a wide-scale, organized basis in the early 1900s. This era, which ran from 1904 to 1950, became known as the Black Fives era, referring to the 5 starting players on a basketball team. Much like the Negro Leagues of baseball, the Black Fives created a nationwide barnstorming circuit of independent African American basketball teams. Black Fives flourished in many of the same cities as our Big East schools today. Cities like New York, DC, Philadelphia, Indianapolis, and Chicago, as well as other cities with substantial African American populations. The men and women of the Black Fives era, and yes, you better believe there were also women's teams, opened doors for generations of black players, coaches, and contributors during a time of segregation and systemic oppression. These teams and players fostered hope and unity, using basketball as a common ground for building bridges. This season, during Black History Month, the Big East Conference will honor 22 teams from the Black Fives era. Join us this February to recognize their many contributions to the sport of basketball. To find out more, visit bigeast.com/Black Fives.
It is trivia time here in New York City. We are at Stout Bar right on 33rd Street in Manhattan, across the way from Madison Square Garden. Shoot-around back here with you, and we're going to give away some special prizes. I am joined right now by Chris and Brian, representing Villanova, Joe and Paul, representing the St. John's Red Storm. Gentlemen, we're going to do 3 trivia questions, okay? Best 2 out of 3, and then the winning team is going to have a bonus round. Are we ready?
Let's do it. Get to the bonus round.
So, who's going to hold the microphone for you two?
You have to talk into the mic.
All right, you got to talk into the mic. He's always talking?
It's important to use the microphone.
Start singing.
So I'll hear you tonight at the Garden.
Absolutely.
All right, I have 3 questions. I'm going to watch your hands to see who taps in. Who has the most runner-up finishes at the Big East tournament?
Georgetown.
Syracuse.
He said Syracuse. You said?
Georgetown.
You said Georgetown. The correct answer is Syracuse, the orange. All right.
All right, I tried.
They're on the board. Villanova's on the board, up 1-0. It's time to bounce back.
I hear you.
Joe and Paul. Okay, here we go. All right. Who won question 2? Who won the famed Allen versus Allen Big East Championship game? Who won that game? Ray Allen versus Allen Ray. Who won that game in '96?
Allen Iverson, you mean? Not Allen Ray.
Allen Iverson, right, yes.
Georgetown?
Georgetown?
Georgetown.
Your guess at Georgetown. They got it in. You going?
I'm going to go UConn.
You're going UConn. The correct answer is UConn. Which means that Joe and Paul are being sent off the set. They lasted quite quickly, I might add. Okay, Chris and Brian, you win. Thank you, guys. Enjoy your beer. We don't hand out participation trophies in the Big East. Have a nice night. Okay, so so first off, that alone, you're going home with a Stout $50 gift card.
Love it.
But you get a bonus round. And in my hands, I have 2 Big East tournament tickets.
Oh, okay.
I've got Big East tournament tickets. And if I'm correct, are they championship tickets? I think they might be. All right, are we ready? Okay. Here we go. How many straight years has the Big East tournament been held at Madison Square Garden?
Including this year coming up?
Including this year.
This is the 40th one, I'm pretty sure. John, I'm going with this is year 40.
The big 4-0.
The Big 4-0, says Chris. You're going to the Big East tournament. The Big 4-0 is correct.
Villanova stays winning.
The full 40, if you will.
That was the most Villanova reaction I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah, well.
Chris and Brian, you're heading to the Big East tournament. Won't be your first rodeo.
No, definitely
We've been there a
not.
bunch of times.
Won't be the last either.
Congratulations.
Thanks, John.
Thanks,
Appreciate
John.
it.
There it is. Nova Nation does keep on winning. More trivia coming. All right, we roll on here with trivia from Stout Bar, New York City, across from Madison Square Garden on West 33rd Street. And to my right, I've got Christian. To my left, I've got Mike and Tim. They're ready to try to go for a Stout gift card. Are you guys ready?
There we are.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Question number 1. It's best 2 out of 3. So it's the best 2 out of 3 wins here. Who won the first Big East tournament at Madison Square Garden way back in the 80s?
Is it anybody goes?
Go. You got to beep in. Oh,
Georgetown.
Georgetown is incorrect. Another Big East team.
We'll go with Syracuse.
They go Syracuse. That's incorrect too.
Oh, man.
That's incorrect too.
How?
That means when you both get one wrong, I have artichoke dip. As we wait for the next question.
How is it?
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's good.
I highly recommend it.
order it.
It's good for you too.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Next question. How many Big East championships has Villanova won since 2015? Now, you got to just do math here. Since 2015, how many Big East titles has Villanova won?
4.
He guesses 4. He is correct.
Yeah, let's go.
Mike and Tim on the board. That's a
Yeah,
point.
on the board.
That's a point. All right, Christian, you're down.
Yeah, I bet down big.
All right, here we
big
go.
time.
Question
I'm not
3.
worried, I'm
I'm
not
a little
worried.
nervous.
Okay, here
Very
we go.
nice. I'll,
Okay. Let me do this here. I got it here.
All right, yeah, pick a good one.
I'm going to pick a good one.
All right, we're ready.
Patrick Ewing.
That's a good guess, but that's not the answer. Who won the famed, this is like the greatest game in Big East tournament history. Who won the 6 overtime game?
Syracuse.
He guesses Syracuse. He would be absolutely correct. We are tied at 1 apiece, which means
Chris McNamara.
Jerry
McNamara.
Mack,
I knew someone named McNamara.
which means we're going to go to a tiebreaker.
All right,
Ooh.
we're ready.
In 2016, Villanova won the national championship.
That's right.
They won the national championship.
Yes.
Who did they lose to in the Big East tournament title game?
Seton Hall.
Seton Hall is the correct answer. Christian, you were there. You were there, but you might have had too many.
Spirit.
You might
weren't
have had too
watching.
many
You
adult
weren't watching. I was
beverages.
watching.
You cheated.
He did not cheat. He did not
I would
cheat.
never cheat, John.
Okay. So we've got 2 Big East tournament tickets to give away now. Bonus round.
All right, let's do
Just
it.
him.
All right.
2 tickets on the line here.
All right, let's do it.
Here's my trivia question. So, staying with 2016
Let's do it.
and 2018,
Okay.
tell me who was the national championship game most outstanding player for Villanova in each of those games.
Okay, 2018 was Dante DiVincenzo.
Bingo. Dante DiVincenzo's correct. 2016, this is the big one. Who was the most outstanding player in that game?
All right, I'm not positive of this, but if they don't give it to Chris Jenkins for hitting the shot, then I'm wrong.
It is not Chris Jenkins, which is shocking.
Josh Hart?
It was Phil Booth. Remember?
Oh, Phil Booth. He got 25 points.
Remember, Phil Booth came off the bench. He had 25 points, but you do get the Stout gift card.
Sorry.
Christian's going on with a Stout gift card, which means I hang on to these tickets for another lucky contestant. Thank you guys for playing.
All right, a lot of fun. Thanks, guys.
Who's going to win tonight?
Villanova all the way.
And cover, and cover, and cover.
This is what it's all about. From the heart of New York City, the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden.
And the fans feel it. The energy in the building right now is phenomenal.
And here we go.
How about that? Dropping dimes.
They are playing ball.
Crashing the glass.
Listen to this crowd in the Big East Championship. Old school basketball
For the win.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's time to grind. Kick down the door, drop it on the dime. Slick with the rhyme. It's time to shine. Run. Do what you gotta do. Run. That's right, they're telling you. Run. We came to rock the spot. Run. You hear us beating up the block. Run. Do what you gotta do. Run. That's right, they're telling you. Run. We came to rock the spot. Run. You hear us beating up the block. Yeah.
Back here to wrap it up at Stout Bar, New York City on West 33rd Street, right here in Manhattan. And I have in front of me a monster. I mean a monster. This thing would be a #1 seed on your bracket. It is the Big East Burger here from Stout. They're going to be your one-stop shop here across the way from the Garden for your burger, your beer during tournament week. And I look forward to seeing you guys right across the way from MSG during the 40th Big East Tournament inside Madison Square Garden from March 9th to the 12th. So, this burger is medium rare because I like my cow mooing a little bit. You've got the cheese, you've got bacon, you've got onion petals in honor of Raft. Onions! You've got tomato, you've got lettuce, you've got all kinds of things. So they've brought this to me here in the booth, and I'm very excited to have this. First, I'm going to try a fry to basically get my stomach going. Great fry. They made them well done. This thing is huge. I'm going to have to drop the microphone to eat it. I mean, seriously, this thing, it's like 2 feet in length. Phenomenal in every way. Medium rare to perfection. Onion petals that are terrific. The cheese speaks for itself. This is worth 3 meals, folks. You got to come to Stout. You got to have the Big East Burger and be here during Big East Tournament Week, March 9th to the 12th. Before you head into the Garden, after you get done the Garden, get to Stout. I'm going to keep munching on this thing. I love me some bacon, and we all love us some Big East basketball. And we thank everybody here at Stout for having us tonight. Enjoy the basketball in the Big East. And this has been Shoot Around. I got some work to do.